Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's go!
Have you ever been so hungover that you wish someone would just ass in you on the way into work just so you can spend the day in the ER, detoxing with an IV drip? Yeah, me either. Have you had enough of the anxiety hangover blues? You know, feeling like every morning, trying to piece together who you pissed off, drunk dialed, or why you're in the back seat of a Subaru in the suburbs of Cleveland. And oh yeah, let's not forget about work today, where you're gonna spend the morning ducking into corners, scarfing down greasy food, and Googling the top 100 hangover cures and how to say, "I'm so sorry about your mailbox" in Spanish, which, by the way, is "Lo siento por tu buzón." And then, of course, you get to hear the, "Wow, late night, brother? You smell like a brewery."
Wow.
Or worse, "Put your pants on, man. Your customers are here." But seriously, guys, if you're done burning through cash and feeling like total ass every day, this is the first video in a 3-part series where you can learn how to get sober on your own without pricey rehabs and expensive therapy. I promise, you got this. Just some good old-fashioned DIY recovery. Oh, and here's a disclaimer. If you're a hardcore drinker like I was, do yourself a favor and talk to a doctor before you try going solo. It could save your life. Also, don't forget to check out the time codes in the description below. That way you can skip anything that doesn't apply to you or jump straight into the parts you're most interested in. In our first episode, we're diving into 5 ways to get sober on your own. And number 1 is using the World Wide Web. You know, the internet. Turns out it's good for more than just Amazon and porn. Number 2, know your triggers, like high stress situations. Stay away from tornadoes. Number 3, steer clear of those sketchy spots, also known as bars and brothels. Number 4, ditch old routine. If every night involves a bar stool, it's time for a new hobby. And finally, practice healthy living, because shockingly, cheap vodka isn't one of the main food groups. So without further delay, let's get into it. Welcome back to Breaking Change, the Sober Mindset. I'm your host, Rodney Hood, and let me kick off this episode by saying, if you've got good health insurance and you can swing the time off of work, do what I did, head to rehab. Totally worth it. It 100% helped jumpstart my sobriety. Although, I only ended up spending $200 out of pocket. Without insurance, it would have been a cool $30K. So if rehab's on the table for you, definitely take advantage. If not, keep on watching. Social media is not only for lying about your age and weight,
Wow.
it's much, much more. Believe it or not, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter are packed with sobriety pages. And trust me, if you think you're alone in the struggle for sobriety, just hop online. You're one of millions battling alcohol and drug addiction. 28.9 million people in the United States, or 10.2% of the population 12 or older, yikes, had an alcohol use disorder in the past year. This includes 16.8 million males and 13 million females. That's 30 million people. So, by my math, if you're at the mall with 1,000 people, at least 300 faced? That doesn't sound right. Then again, I took freshman algebra all 4 years, so maybe don't quote me on that. But sadly, it's estimated that over 178,000 people lose their lives each year due to excessive alcohol use. But with thousands of videos and personal stories out there, just type sobriety in the search engine and boom, you're off to the races. Now let's be real, there's no one-size-fits-all approach to sobriety. Hell, my dad's an alcoholic and quit cold turkey in his late 40s and never touched another drop without AOL. Of course, that was right after he was charged with grand theft auto and attempted murder, which was definitely motivating for him. What matters is what clicks for you. So I've linked some of my favorite YouTube channels in the description to help you out. Oh, and don't forget about sobriety apps. There's a ton of them. The one I use is I Am Sober, which has one of my favorite features that tracks how much money you save by not drinking. My overall savings has been over $5,000. And where that money went, I have no freaking clue. But at least it wasn't spent on booze and bad decisions, right? Then there's Sober Grid, which combines the best of social media and networking to keep you in the loop. And last but not least, Recovery Path. This is an app full of daily affirmations and exercises to remind you that you've got this. Guys, these apps are totally free, and they act like a best friend in your pocket. Just think about it. Back in the day, getting sober meant going cold turkey and hitting up AA meetings in the church basement. No Wi-Fi, just you, a room full of strangers, and a cup of coffee. But now the internet can be your sobriety sidekick, ready to jump in when you need an extra boost. It's like having 24/7 support in your back pocket. And there's thousands of videos on sobriety and self-improvement, so you can binge watch your way to a better you. Just remember, there's more than one way to get sober.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Certain things can trigger an alcoholic faster than a free booze sign in a bar window on St. Patty's Day. I'm so triggered, bro. But that one's too obvious. You gotta watch out for the sneaky ones. I'm talking about stress, people. Old stomping grounds. Old smells. Certain people that smell. And even random activities that can send you crying straight back to the bottle. And don't forget about the classic trifecta. Boredom, loneliness, and anxiety, because nothing says I could really use a drink and not feel like the last person on earth, right? You see, triggers for alcohol are just one of those things you have to face in life. There's no escaping having a crappy day at work. You're gonna fight with your significant other. You might be a Bears fan. But the good news is, simply being aware of what sets you off is the first step in handling them like a pro. Here are some of the usual suspects when it comes to addiction triggers, and a few quick tips to dodge them. The first one is an acronym called HALT, which stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. If you're hungry, aka hangry, it's time to hit pause, grab a snack before you start snapping at people. Figure out why you're mad so you can chill the F out. If you're tired all the time, make sure you're not treating your sleep schedule like a suggestion. Try to go to sleep and wake up at the same time every day. And if you're feeling lonely, it's a sign to start Googling sober social events like we talked about, which I just happen to have another great app called The Phoenix. Now this app offers activities such as yoga, hiking, rock climbing, and even boxing. That's right, you can invite your annoying neighbor out and punch him in the head. Just kidding. There's also rock climbing, CrossFit, live music, and game nights all in your area.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Isolation is another trigger that falls into this category. Spending too much time with your thoughts. Programs like AA and Smart Recovery are just a couple of many lifelines out there. I'll link them in the description. But let's face it, drinking alone is out, and support groups are the new happy hour. And speaking of triggers, let's get into what the word really means in the world of sobriety. A trigger is anything that makes your inner alcoholic perk up and say, hey, remember the good old days? But what your brain should be asking is, hey, remember those nauseating mornings and wallet-draining nights? Let's not forget about your drinking buddies. Those enablers disguised as friends, they can be a major trigger too. Now, this doesn't mean you have to cut them out forever, but for the sake of your mental, physical, and sober self, it's time to get a little selfish. And when the dust settles, your true friends will stick around to meet the new and improved sober version of you. Triggers are gonna pop up like ads you can't skip. But before you panic, just take a deep breath and imagine what tomorrow or even the rest of your life could look like without giving in. Now, third on the list,
Ladies and gentlemen.
stay out of bad places, all right? Also known as bars, restaurants in Wisconsin.
Let's go.
Anywhere you're surrounded by the temptations of drugs and alcohol. The key is to stay clear until you build up some solid time and confidence in your sobriety. Once you've got that down, you can slowly ease back into those situations. But remember, getting sober on your own takes a ton of discipline. So start steering clear of the usual traps till you're ready to face them head on.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Number 4, routines. Get some, but not the kind that involves sneaking out of work early to down 12 tequila shots just to erase your day. See, we've got to swap that out for something a little bit more positive, like hitting the gym or tackling a home project that actually makes you feel like you've accomplished something. For me, I've been buying old furniture from estate sales and Goodwill and refurbishing them. Not only can I make some extra side cash, but it's also incredibly satisfying. Plus, there's no hangover, just a good night's sleep and a clear-headed morning. See, now that you're sober, you're gonna find yourself with a ton of free time that used to be spent either sleeping off last night or laying on the couch nursing a hangover. So get organized, write down your goals, and plan out your days. Pretty soon you'll realize that once you've got a solid routine going, there's barely enough time in the day to squeeze everything in. Who knew sobriety could make you busier than your drinking days? And finally, number 5.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Healthy living. It's something I could rant about for hours, but let's keep it simple. Cutting out alcohol and processed food, especially fast food, for a more balanced diet will not only work wonders for your physical health, but your mental state will also get a serious upgrade. That fog in your brain, it'll start to lift. But remember to take baby steps at the beginning of your sobriety and give your body time to adjust. After all, it's been marinating in poison for your entire drinking career. Also, gym memberships are super cheap, guys. And eating healthy just takes a little extra effort. Plus, cooking your own meals is a great new habit to pick up, and it can actually be a lot of fun, especially with a significant other or sober friends. These are just 5 ways to help get yourself sober without shelling out for expensive rehab or therapy. I'm not saying those don't help, but let's be honest, sometimes doing it on your own is the only realistic option. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm praying for all of you. Oh yeah, be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe for episodes 2 and 3. And remember, God loves you and so do I. Peace.